I had the great privilege of teaching the highest level, God in Life. It's all about the call. It comes through the Pray program. And these three good men, young men, worked with me throughout the year. And as we talked about a project, and you know how a high school young person was thrilled about another project at this point in their lives, the one project that got their eyes twinkling was, I asked if they wanted to help me with the sermon. And you know that got them real excited. So we're going to have some fun today. And I'm real excited. Very first thing, though, I'd like them all to introduce themselves, tell what grade you're in, what school you're at, and what level of scouting you're at.
Hello, my name's Mason Benefield. I go to Whiteland Community High School. I'm a freshman, and I'm a Life Scout.
Hi, my name is Joey Villanueva. I go to Center Grove High School, and I'm a Life Scout working on my Eagle.
My name is Aaron Wilson, and I go to Center Grove High School. I'm a junior, and I'm on Life.
And all three of you are working on, at various stages, getting ready to start Eagle Scouts, right?
Yes.
Okay. Today is Scout Sunday, and we're very proud of that here at Mount Auburn. But there's something else is happening tonight. Anybody know? I won't make a pass. Maybe I can. Tonight, obviously, it's Super Bowl Sunday too, okay? And I want you to think about something with me to lead into what we're going to talk about. Millions of dollars are being spent today to say who's the greatest, right? Which team is going to get bragging rights to win tonight? Which commercial is going to be the greatest, right? Millions have been spent to be the best Super Bowl commercial. I've been watching some of the previews of I'm watching previews of commercials. Can you believe that? Golly. But I have been. It's been fun to see what people are coming up with. Tonight, too, we're looking for the greatest entertainers. The people who are going to be, I believe the halftime show is Usher this year. And, is this going to be the greatest show ever? Will this be the best Super Bowl show ever? That's what this is all about. And as we look at all that, as the game is played tonight, one thing that we will see all the way through the game, we're going to see something called a huddle, right? We will see huddles tonight. And a definition of a huddle is the action of a team gathering together, usually in a tight circle, to strategize, motivate, or celebrate. And while that's a good definition, I got to tell you, I called my son, Daniel, who played football for Noblesville all the way through high school, and I said, what do you think a huddle is? He said, I told him the definition. He started laughing. He said, it's all about communications. In a few moments, you have to find out what's right, what's wrong, and what the next play is. You can't sugarcoat anything. It's got to be, if someone's right, I can't guard this person, or whatever sport you're in, because huddles are in all kinds of sports. I need help over here, or here's the next play. We got to change this. In just a few seconds, you got to be clear, you got to be precise, and you've really got to hit it hard. Well, in the passage we're going to look at, we're going to see two huddles, and both huddles are critical. And as we look at this, but one thing I've got to ask, you got to learn one trivia fact while you're here this morning. Do you know what university started the huddle? In 1894. We didn't prep this. This is kind of fun. The first school in the very first huddle in a football game was Gallaudet University. Gallaudet, if you don't know, is for deaf students. It's a university just for deaf students, and they were playing students from another deaf college. And in that year, in 1894, the quarterback called everybody to get together in a circle so the other team couldn't watch them talk with their American Sign Language. From that, the huddle was born, and it's literally in multiple sports. So now you've learned something, right? The first huddle is from Gallaudet back in 1894. But I want to look at huddles, a couple of huddles that Jesus is going to call that honestly changes the world. With that, let's go to Matthew chapter 20. We have lots of guests here. We as a church have been working through the book of Matthew for months, and we're right now at chapter 20. 21 is Palm Sunday. That's when Jesus goes in Jerusalem. It's that last week he lives. We're right before that. This is the last thing he has to teach his disciples. It's his last opportunity. So I'm going to tell the story, and then we're going to respond to it. Now, Jesus was going up to Jerusalem, and on the way, now here's the first huddle. He took the 12 aside. Okay, he pulled them together for a huddle. And remember, you come together to learn to play, and let me listen to what he's calling. He's reminding them what the victory is here. What are we doing? So here we go. We are going up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man will be delivered over to the chief priests and the teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and flogged and crucified. And on the third day, he'll be raised to life. By the way, this is exactly what's going to happen in a week. He knows exactly what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. That's the victory that's coming. But right after this, they break the huddle, and look what happens. The mother of Zebedee's son came to Jesus. Now, these are two of his disciples, and with her sons, and kneeling down, they asked a favor of him. What is it you want? He asked. She said, grant that one of my two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom. You don't know what you're asking, Jesus said to them. Can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink? And they, of course, said, we can. And Jesus said to them, you will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right and left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those to whom or for whom they have been prepared by the Father. Now, going on. When the 10 heard about this, they were indignant with the two brothers. Well, they asked Jesus first. That's why they're so upset. Now, here's the second huddle. At this point, Jesus calls a second huddle to clarify the play. Okay, that's what this is about. You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Here's the play. Whoever wants to become great, if you want to be great in this world, if you really want to be great, you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be your slave. And then he says, just as the Son of Man, and this is Jesus' name for himself, he basically saying, just as I did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus says the play of the game is that we can't be served. We're not here to be served. We're here to serve. And to serve in such an extent, even a willingness to give your life if necessary. That's what this is about. That's what this call is about. And at this point, here we go. Guys, what did you think? What did you learn about serving as you went through your class?
Well, I learned that serving is one of the big things in Boy Scouts. It's one of the very many principles. An example of it is when I went through NYLT, which is National Youth Leadership Training. I learned how to be a servant leader. A servant leader is a leader that will get down in the trenches with everyone else and do the work with everyone else and still be a leader. And I went back there and staffed NYLT for a couple of times. And I've learned and I've taught people how to be a servant leader and how to serve others. Thanks,
Mason. Joey?
Just leading on to what Mason said, one of the main principles of scouting is, leadership and service. And, when I was the crew leader for Philmont, which is a high adventure camp out in New Mexico, and we took our troop out there, I was the crew leader. And, we had a lot of adversity on that trip, sickness, injuries, things like that. And, we had to work together, and, I had to serve my team, really. And that really bettered me as a person.
So I help in food pantries sometimes, and then I've also helped in the kids service at my church, and I feel like the major thing I've like learned from that is it gives you just a whole nother perspective about everything whenever you are serving, rather than if you like are being served yourself, because then like you just look around you and you just see like all the goodness that you can bring to other people, and just amazing.
Okay. Is it easy to serve?
No, it is not. There are many difficulties in serving, but it's worth it.
All right. Anybody else want to comment? Joe, you got it?
Yeah, I would also say it's pretty difficult to serve. You know, nowadays everything is really about the fame. You know, how many people do you have serving you? And, you know, God doesn't look at it like that. He looks at it, you know, how many people do you serve?
That's true. Aaron, you're okay. That's all right. As you guys think about this, if you could say what's the most important aspect of service, what would you say it is?
I would say just being a leader and just showing other people the good that you can bring.
That's good. Everybody leads and everybody follows, don't they? And you have to serve in both capacities. You guys all are leaders. If you don't know, they've all led in various scouting kinds of things. They're all young men of faith. Is it hard to practice service in other places besides scouting? Like at school or in your sports that you guys do, or in, let's see, Aaron, you compete in a fishing tournaments, and I know, Mason, you're on the swim team and stuff, and all of you. Is it hard to serve even outside of scouting?
I mean, it's never going to be easy to serve others. You're always going to have that adversity. You know, yeah. I mean.
That makes sense. Anybody else?
I think it will be difficult, like it always is, but the more you lead and the more experience you'll have, it will be easier and easier to lead.
So you get to make an intentional choice to serve.
Yeah.
One of the aspects of scouting is they do practice servant leadership. They lead, but you have to learn to serve as part of that leadership. To be great means you have to serve first. If you want to say one thing about service to the Cubs, these young people that are they're following your steps. You guys are getting ready to start Eagle. It's been several years now since you've been in Boy Scouts. Is there something you would like to say to them about what's it mean to serve? How do I learn to serve? What would you say if you could give them one idea to carry with them right now about having to serve?
I'd say service is a skill that you have to hone, you know. So the only way I feel is if you're going to better your way of service is to put yourself in situations to serve. You know, put yourself in those leadership positions, things like that, and just continue to better yourself.
Like, I agree with that. Just don't stop serving. I mean, you can just see how much good it brings and how happy you can make other people and how much work it is for God that you're doing that, and just don't stop doing it.
Putting yourself in other people's shoes, having empathy, and being cheerful and happy to help and work.
What if you make a mistake? What if you fall flat? You know, you don't serve well. What do you think? What would you tell them?
Just learn from it and
do it again.
Yeah, just do it. Keep on doing it. Just learn.
Failure is always going to happen. You don't know when and where it's going to happen, but it will. But getting yourself back up and keep pushing is a good trait to have.
I've had the privilege of working with these guys for several weeks, and I think the one point I think is they get this idea that you intentionally choose to serve every day. And as Christians, we don't believe we can do that on our own. We believe God helps us serve. And it comes back to this is the play God gives us. We are called to be great, but not in the world sense. We're called to be great because we're called to serve. We're called to be great in the same way Jesus came and he gave himself freely as a ransom for us on that cross. We are called to serve in such a way that lives can be changed. So intentionally serve. Any last words? I want to thank these guys. It's been a privilege. Can we thank them?